Alright, I already did a part 1 of this where I had an intro where I went over the history and the artists behind these title cards, so now that this time I just want to get straight into it. You should see part 1 if you haven't and you're watching this for some reason. Anyway, we've got 5 more that I want to gush about, and we're going to start with Who Let the Ed In? Now, the reason why I include this is because it's a lot like my favorite title card with A Glass of Warm Ed, where it's kind of got that homey feeling going on, but I will say it's not as strong here. Rock by Ed, I definitely feel is a lot more universally comfy. I'm into Glass of Warm Ed. We'll get to that later, but yeah, I feel like this one isn't as strong here, but it does obviously still have that homey house vibe. And yeah, I still love the motion of this. I love the way the mop looks, even if mops are pretty unhandy, and overall, I just think it's a really funny and colorful one that I definitely still am taken by, and I enjoy this title card. But we're gonna get into a bigger one with Who, What, Where, Ed. Now, this is one heck of a title card. First of all, as you might notice, it's Eddy. Yeah, this is one of those unique cases where a character from the show is actually included on here rather than some random person, and I mean, you don't see his face, but it's unmistakably Eddy, and you can see the inside of his head, and we'll get to that, but first I just gotta point out how realistically weird and uncanny he looks, and like the over detail on his ears and stuff. It's like almost like making them in one of the wrestling games, which is just hilarious to do. And now to talk about the insides, and yeah, like it's just the classic super fun stuff I liked, like I talked about last time, with the whole entire motion and curves of all the gears going on. They almost look like eyes in a way, which may or may not be intentional, but the thing about this that's really cool, aside from the fun of it, is if you look at it, it actually foreshadows and references actual events in the episode, because this is the one where they go on a trading quest to get the eggs, make a super duper world famous omelet, and the things that they have on here are actual stuff that they trade, because they get the sawdust from Kevin, and then Jimmy wants the paints, and you can see his brain calculating how that plus that equals egg. And I just love that. Like, that is such a fucking cool thing to have that you don't usually see in these, and you probably won't even ever notice this when you see the title card appear for 1 second on TV, and there's so much shit going on, and just this super nice, subtle, fun, colorful way to actually show what's going on in the actual episode that you wouldn't even see. I love that. Now, here's another really fun, short one that I want to talk about, much like with the Swiss Army knife last time. It's the one with the key, and yeah, it's just similar to that, where I just love the way this looks. It's super fun and goofy, and the words fitting into the holes of the key, and it's just super, like, extravagant and fun, and, you know, it kind of gives me vibes of, like, exploring, like, the old cellar or attic or basement or whatever have you as a kid, and yeah, it's just overall really cool stuff and goofy, and reminds me that a friend of a friend was looking for an old, either Teletoon or YTV bumper for key curving around and trying to fit into a hole that we never found. You know what I'm talking about. Now, that's all well and good, and then you look at the actual keyhole itself, and you see there's an eye in there. There is an honest-to-goodness real eye in the keyhole to make the phrase that's based on the key to my eye a real, literal thing, and my goodness, that just makes it so much more horrifying and gruesome. Just imagine how painful that would be, and then the pupil itself actually kind of looks like it might just be a hole that you would insert right into it, and that just would be unbelievably, like, wince-inducing and painful, and I love it. I love this title card. Thank you for this art. And now here's another short little fun one, Mirror, Mirror on the Ed, a classic, beloved, fan favorite episode, and yeah, I mean, there's not much going on here. I just love it because it's just so colorful and cartoony, and like, it's just a simple bathroom, but, like, it's so clean and it has, like, the same, like, fun, homey 90s, like, Saturday morning feeling as A Glass of Warm Ed and Who Let the Ed In, but I feel like this one does it better than Who Let the Ed In still. It's more, as I just said, like, universally just good vibes, and, whoever, like, bathed in here must have took a really hot shower, and you shouldn't take super hot showers. You gotta tone it down a bit to more lukewarm stuff, don't do that with all the dripping. Also, this is like toothpaste. I mean, with how thick and blue it is, it almost looks like there's this toothpaste squirt on the mirror and they drew a smiley face on it. Very funny. And I gotta shout out to this butter. I mean, I just call it butter on accident. I meant the soap, but that's my point. It looks super buttery, and just look at that. I just want to take a knife and spread around and, put that on some toast. And toast doesn't go in the toaster. Bread does. Oh, that's aside from the suds bubbles coming off of it. And reminds me of that recent game with the soap tentacle monster that pretends to be soap. You gotta look out for that. Overall, you can just really feel the warmth and humidities in this, and it's just great shit, and I love the pink walls. Overall, great title card. Alright, now we're ending this off with a big doozy, and there's a lot of big fives in here, like Over Ed, and that is Rock by Ed. I love the work on this. Just look at the color scheme here, the movement, and it's just simultaneously like so spooky nightmarish yet comfy and just makes you ready for bed. Like, this is truly what I imagine when you hear a lullaby, like specifically the classic rockabye stuff, which is of course this is based on, and like it just captures it perfectly, like that old Tracy Ullman Simpson short where they're singing it to Maggie, and like they kind of show how kind of like fucked up and weird the lyrics of that song actually are, where Maggie is imagining herself on a treetop in the middle of the darkness and falling off of it, and that just like captures it, but yet it's still like cool because it just kind of makes you think of like going to bed without worry as like a baby. And now, like, well, first of all, great contrast with the red letters on top of everything else. Like, this is just such a fucking well-made piece of art. And now to get into low details, first of all, this moon, I didn't even notice, like, consciously that the moon is the O in rock. That is great stuff. Again, just like how I've talked about last time, the way they sometimes work in letters to the rest of it, that's just always really impressive because you don't consciously notice it when the title card actually comes up. So that's always much appreciated and just really cool, clever usages. And I like to point out these eyes over here in the tree, and I don't know, they might be all eyes, but they're not quite round enough, and like I feel like having the all be messing like that is not really too common thing, especially later on in the world. But yeah, I'm a big fan of this. It's maybe my favorite part of it, just because I'm a fan of dark monsters, and the coolest tree branch that almost looks like a giant hand coming out to grab you. And I just noticed, I think there's a door at the top of it. It resembles a door at least. And then you look at the bed, and there's a lump, meaning that somebody's actually under there. And, it's probably Johnny. And, he's on there doing some stuff with Plank. I definitely think that looks like his bed. Like, I think his sheets are that color, which is pretty cool. And, I don't know, I just love this. Like, as I said, it's just so mesmerizing, like, over your head. And, like, I just love the movement that's in here and the, like, being both menacing yet comfortable. And, it just kind of sums up the night title cards in a nutshell. And it's just great work, and this art is truly breathtaking, simply stunning. Anyways, I think that's about all I have to say. This time, I might do another one of these, especially if, like, my friends or maybe some of you watching recommend and request title cards for me to talk about, and I also like the title card that's brought up, then I'll probably do it. Until then, see you next time.